My uncle told me on the phone, his voice trembling, the family's rice field, almost ready for harvest, had been torn apart by a wild boar herd in just one night. Hearing the choke in his voice from the loss, we knew we couldn't just sit idly by. Instantly, the whole team was on the move. Could we help my uncle protect his hard work and put an end to this destruction? Follow us and see. After a quick tactical meeting, a plan was drawn up. We analyzed their movement patterns and identified the hot spots at the edges of the field where the boars often gathered. The pickup truck rolled out, taking the team to their designated positions. Specialized boots gripped the ground beneath us. In our hands, silenced rifles equipped with thermal scopes were ready, turning the night into our advantage. We chose our first ambush position on a high mound overlooking the ravaged rice field. It was a strategic spot, offering a full view while still providing ample cover from shadows and trees. The wind blew against us, a huge advantage masking our scent. And there they were. I immediately locked my crosshairs onto the leader and BM. The beast crashed to the ground like a felled tree. The herd scattered in chaos, like a broken beehive. This was the moment. I quickly swung the rifle, targeting other panic boars. Several fell under control. Moving to our second location, we used some moldy feed bags borrowed from the cooperative and spread a straight trail of bait. The boars followed the scent, lining up neatly to eat, a perfect setup for an accurate shot. Just as we predicted, a herd arrived and began feeding, completely unaware of the death lurking nearby. I quickly raised my rifle. No need to aim for long. A quick squeeze of the trigger, relentless and decisive, and multiple boars in the herd were taken down. Each shot didn't just take down a beast, it protected the hard work, sweat, and tears of the people. As the night grew deeper, the air turned frigid. Using data from surveillance cameras we had set up earlier, we knew that from 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. was when they usually went to a nearby pond to drink and wallow. We moved in slowly like ghosts. I chose the largest boar in the group and held my breath. My scope locked onto the target. A perfectly accurate shot. The boar collapsed instantly. Determined not to leave any survivors that might come back to wreak havoc, we pressed deeper into the forest, spreading corn to lure the remaining stubborn boars. Soon enough, a small group appeared, heads down feeding. I moved cautiously forward, with teammates providing cover, ready for any situation. I waited patiently for a big boar to emerge from behind a tree, then squeezed the trigger. It dropped. The others scattered. My teammates didn't miss a beat. Accurate follow-up shots rang out, bringing down a few more. Not long after, a few more greedy boars approached the bait. I opened fire, a rapid sequence of shots ending the chaos, closing out a tense night of hunting. We swore to put an end to this nightmare once and for all, ensuring no remnants of the herd could ever return to wreak havoc again. The Jeep Wrangler roared to life, and we drove away from the field as the first rays of dawn began to break. Exhausted but satisfied, I pulled out my iPhone 17 to jot down a few lines in my journal, a sense of pride and relief washing over me. Did you enjoy our hunt today? Like and subscribe to catch more heart-stopping action in the next episode. The cold winter air blanketed the hills of Turkey. As the first light of dawn broke over the ridgeline, our team gathered quickly to lay out the day's battle plan, a mission to stop the wild boars that had ravaged this land under the cover of night. These beasts had been tearing through fields and striking fear into the hearts of villagers, robbing them of sleep and threatening their upcoming harvest. Today, we weren't just hunters, we were protectors. Every step we took along that frosty hillside, every sharp glance through the scope carried one purpose: to track, contain, and eliminate the threat before more damage could be done. With our boots firm in the earth and our spirits locked in, the hunt began. This was no ordinary chase. This was war man versus beast. Dawn was breaking over the rocky hills of Paucek, Turkey. We tightened our gear, checked our weapons, and made sure our supplies were locked in, fully prepared for a long day of intense encounters across two completely different terrains. Mist still clung to the leaves as we moved forward, each firm step cutting through the silence like a warning. It was as if our presence stirred something from its winter slumber. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw John glance at me, then we both caught it. A shadow moving just ahead. Without hesitation, John steadied his rifle. Aim. Hold breath. Fire. Boom. The shot landed clean. The boar dropped instantly, crashing to the ground without a sound. That unexpected encounter felt like the land itself was greeting us, and it marked the beginning of what would be a promising hunt. We kept pressing forward along the hillside. By now, it was close to noon, the sun blazing down, the heat rising with every step. The wild boars were starting to show up in greater numbers. And then there they were. Across the slope, a whole group of them, lazily foraging without a care. My scope locked in on one target. Without hesitation, I gripped the rifle John handed me and pulled the trigger. Boom! A perfect shot. The boar dropped instantly, tumbling down the hillside like a sack of stone. The rest of the herd panicked, scattering wildly into the dense brush, disappearing into the cover of trees. And just like that, one shot, clean and precise, the moment was sealed. A flawless execution, backed by unwavering trust in my teammate. It wasn't just a hunt. It was a display of perfect coordination, timing, trust, and one bullet to tell the story. On the other side of the hill, James was having a rougher time. The wild boars, there were cunning, using the terrain to their advantage, ducking behind thick brush and tree stumps like living shields. Every shot he took was blocked, wasted. The chase dragged on, tense and relentless. It wasn't until his third consecutive shot that the boar finally went down, crashing hard to the ground, an end to what felt like an endless pursuit. And just like that, the destruction was over. The threat was neutralized. With the boars gone, the crops could thrive again, and the villagers, after so many sleepless nights, could finally rest easy. After a short break to regain our strength, the team moved down toward the grassy fields at the base of the hill. This was the kind of terrain where visibility was clear, perfect for tracking, stalking, and exploiting the natural habits of the prey. Here, patience and positioning were the keys. The hunt had entered a new phase, a shift in ground, a shift in tactics, but the mission remained the same: control, precision, and dominance over the wild. Clever as they are, wild boars are still creatures of habit, and that familiar trail they rely on became their fatal weakness. Suddenly, one burst out from the tree line, charging headfirst toward the open field. 3 rapid shots rang out. Gun smoke mixed with the barking of the hounds, and then the beast staggered and fell. A heart-pounding chase, sealed by a perfectly executed takedown. If you enjoyed that clean finish, don't forget to drop us a like. We pushed farther down into the wide open field below, and luck was on our side. A large, heavy boar was making a desperate run across the grassland, trying to escape. My instincts kicked in. Heart pounding, eyes locked in. I tracked its every move and squeezed the trigger, delivering a burst of hot lead straight toward our prize. 3 shots rang out. The boar dropped with a thud, bringing an end to a thrilling chase that tested every nerve. That moment right there, it wasn't just about firepower. It was the result of honed instincts, sharp reflexes, and years of disciplined training. When it comes to seasoned hunters like us, no target gets away. The team moved out to the open field, preparing to head back. In the quiet calm at the base of the hill, the hunting dogs suddenly erupted into a focused chase. From years of experience, I knew something was about to happen. Quickly, I raised my rifle and aimed straight ahead. Right at the forest's edge, the boar dashed out trying to make its escape. It was about to run straight into a well-placed ambush, and unlucky, I was that shooter. The second shot rang out, and the boar went down completely. A long, intense day finally came to an end, sealed a full victory for our hunting team. Today's success was the result of seamless teamwork, patience, and relentless determination. It wasn't just about hunting skills. This experience taught us a valuable lesson. In every mission, patience, keen observation, and effective coordination are the keys to protecting what matters most and achieving complete success. If you love thrilling hunts and want to join us on future adventures, don't forget to hit that like button and share. The early sunlight quietly touched the faded stone rooftops of Alberobello village. Dew still lingered on the grass. We left the village, rifles at the ready, walking slowly past the rosemary bushes along the path. Last night, wild boars had once again torn apart a field of young corn at the forest's edge. No one in the village slept in peace. Each harvest season here was a struggle, and we could no longer stand by watching them wreak havoc. Inside the forest, the wind blew gently. Click! The rifles were unlocked. The hunt had begun for the fields and for the peaceful sleep of the entire village. Come along with us on this journey. We followed the winding hoof prints from the last cornfield all the way to the forest's edge. The sun was just rising, golden light stretching across the damp, cold air. The silence was so deep that even the crunch of our boots on dry earth echoed. Sensing boars ahead in the thick grass, John said nothing. He straightened, raised his rifle, an instinct he had mastered long ago. The scope locked on. Breath held, trigger squeezed. A clean, decisive shot from a seasoned hunter. The beast stumbled, rolled once, and lay still. We advanced quietly, following a familiar path to the old watchtower we had built on a previous trip. Everything remained intact, enough for the group to settle without making a sound. We waited in silence, watching. As predicted by one of our most experienced hunters, a herd of wild boars emerged from the bushes. A shot rang out from John's rifle. The bullet cut through the air, striking the alpha boar dead on, ending its destruction in an instant. The herd panicked, scattering into the deep woods. From experience, hunters know boars usually hide deep in thick bushes, But once driven out by hounds, they have no choice but to appear. John and I set up at an old trail heavy with signs, ready for action. It didn't take long before a boar poked its snout out of the brush, mud still clinging to its legs. I fired immediately. The bullet struck its shoulder, bringing it down. Target secured. The group rested after a long chase through the dense forest. Tracks led us into the dry woods. Harsh sunlight, brittle fallen leaves everywhere. Every step echoed with a sharp crunch. I gripped my rifle tightly, ear straining. Another herd seemed to be nearby. The bushes trembled, then a boar charged straight at us. John didn't flinch. He chambered around, squeezed the trigger. The bullet flew through the air and struck true. A perfect shot. Breathtaking, wasn't it? At the same moment, Jack on the opposite side was locked onto another target. He calculated distance, speed, and angle, then fired. The threat was gone, and the harvest secured. Only a veteran hunter with such experience could execute shots that clean. From a distance, we spotted a lone boar wandering across the dry leaves, unaware of us. I steadied my rifle, eyes fixed through the scope. My breath slowed, finger tightened. The bullet sliced through the air, dropping the intruder instantly. As dusk fell, we decided to head home after an exhausting day. Suddenly, a boar burst out from the field. Without hesitation, we fired. Quick reflexes, deadly accuracy, not a single miss. A cold, flawless execution worthy of true hunters. And with that, another tense and dangerous hunt came to an end. I still vividly remember the feeling every time I set out on a new hunt. It's not just a journey to track down prey, but a battle of wits between the hunter and nature. In this land, wild boars are nothing short of the enemy of farmers. They destroy crops and trample fields overnight. That's why my team and I decided to head out in the midst of a snowstorm, armed with rifles, hunting dogs, and razor-sharp focus. How many beasts will we face today? And will I maintain my composure to bring them down like I have in the past? The journey officially begins. We moved up the mountain slope, our breaths billowing in the cold morning air. Before long, we spotted a group of wild boars digging in the distance. I decided to start the hunt with a shot. Bang! The entire group scattered in a panic, with one wounded boar stumbling behind. The long distance and thick trees forced me to move closer. The prey was struggling to escape. Bang! The second bullet whizzed through the air and struck its mark, ending all resistance. A promising start, but could this be a sign of a successful hunt? Stay tuned, and don't take your eyes off the screen to continue hunting with us. We decided to spread out, each taking a different path to track down the remaining wild boars. And there it was, right in front of me. Another one appeared within my sights. I raised my rifle, took a deep breath, and then decisively squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of the shot echoed. And in that moment, the fate of the second boar was sealed. Taking down the second prey lifted my spirits, and I felt more energized than ever. The weather grew more brutal, with strong winds making it harder than ever to follow the trail. At that moment, we decided to call in the help of our hunting dogs. And indeed, just minutes later, my hounds were closing in, pushing the prey straight into the line of my rifle. The opportunity couldn't have been better. I slowed my breathing, aimed with precision. The shot rang out sharply. With just one clean shot, the prey fell. A perfect combination, wouldn't you agree? Meanwhile, on another mountain slope, in front of my teammate Jake, a boar was busy digging under the white snow. He gently raised his rifle, locking in on the vulnerable spot. His finger tightened on the trigger. The shot echoed through the still air. Nothing could escape. The boar froze, struggling to flee, but its legs gave way. That shot could only come from an experienced marksman like Jake, clean, precise, and decisive. The sun began to break through, and the air warmed slightly after the biting cold. This was the perfect moment for the wild boars to come out and bask in the sunlight. And sure enough, from our high vantage point, the entire team spotted a dark figure trudging through the snowy expanse. Waiting for the perfect moment, when the target was fully in sight, I tightened my grip on the trigger. Bang! With a single shot, the boar collapsed with no chance of escaping the line of my rifle. Exhausted, we decided to pack up and head back. However, on our way, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in the distance. Not wasting a moment, I quickly raised my rifle. Bang! The bullet struck the target from afar. As we approached to check, the prey was still struggling weakly, desperate to escape. To completely end any threat, another shot rang out. Everything was over. The hunt concluded with precision and efficiency in every shot. Each moment showcased the seamless teamwork and the sharpshooting skills of the seasoned hunters. More importantly, the entire journey took place within a legal, permitted area, fully complying with the regulations. If you found this adventure exciting, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to follow our future hunting trips.